a gentleman in US invented plastic. At that time it was called bakelite, and that was mainly for you know, ensuring that food does not get damaged and stuff like that. Very minor use. But of course, in World War II, things changed because of obvious needs, where even parachutes needed plastic nylon handles and stuff. So eventually, can I have the next slide? So eventually, there's a lot of. So this is what is accepted norm of 5 elements. Of course, fire is something that man-made element kind of thing, but definitely this is what is nature. But then there was plastic, and the hazards are scary. So let's understand what is plastic. Of course, beautiful uses, moldable. You can actually form amazing products, amazing food-related, product-related. Everything can be done in plastic. Came from a very generic Greek word, plastikos. But it is made out of natural products, and that is something which kind of should be very interesting to know, because it is actually a residue of all the petroleum that we consume. So it's not actually a product, it's a residue. And then eventually that residue was found that, okay, this can also be used, and it was put to use for good use of humanity. But today, what has happened is, there is an entire island which has developed in Pacific Ocean just because of all the waste we throw in the ocean. And that is scary. So that's the rigorous process that the oil fields go. They bring that oil to the tanker, the entire crude oil refinery processes all the oil, segregates into petroleum, diesel, LPG, all of that, and segregates, and all the residue eventually gets into the distribution chain, forms a clear-cut plastic there, and that plastic granules eventually goes to factories, and then it comes to your home. This is what is the cycle. Now, from the home, what happens is all the plastic bottles that we see in front of us, all the phones that we use, every smallest thing, even your car steering wheels, or every smallest part that you use, eventually is plastic. But those might not be that scary as the chocolate wrapper that you use. These chocolate wrappers, these thinner plastics that we use, the food foils that we use, that eventually is a bigger menace. So just imagine your day starts with the toothbrush. Maybe you use a shower cap, the buds that you use. Of course, we don't realize all of this. The plastic straws, the food packaging, the helmets are still reusable and used as has a longer shelf life. And of course, every domestic product that you use. So that's the scariest part. That little plastic bag takes 20 years to decompose. And when I say 20 years, I'm sure it does not really decompose to that level which a regular cloth would, or other jute material, which you could have used as an alternative. Similarly, coffee cups, the plastic straws, the plastic rings, the plastic water bottles, the cups, the coffee pots, toothbrushes, and what all not. So this is what is the scariest part now. But of course, the smaller wrappers, they are the biggest evil now at this moment. So now let's think. We need to all gather together. Of course, we cannot just eradicate plastic in a day. And even the government of India could not do it. They were supposed to launch a nationwide plastic ban, and they could not. On 2nd of October, it was about to get complete ban on single-use plastic. And they eventually figured out that, like demonetization, this was also not possible in a quick go. So, but as much as we can become aware, as much as we can contribute towards this, as much as we can chip in. Of course, I'm not saying that today if you start using toothbrush made of bamboo, it will change the world, but a little step towards it can change a little bit. There are, of course, alternatives to earbuds nowadays available, easily available on Amazon if you check out. Frankly, I don't even encourage the wooden spoons, but of course for parties, and if you think that washing the steel spoons would become a nuisance, you may be using that. But encourage yourself to use a steel spoon maybe. Bags, this is the biggest menace. I mean, we just have got into that consumerism mode where we just walk into a shopping mall and just expect that we'll get a bag. Why can't we just carry our own bags? A small collapsible bag, simple as that, fits into your pocket, perfectly fine. Think about it. This is not something that is really common out here in India, but of course across Europe and US, a lot of these plastic rings are used for the 6 cans. Packaging, food packaging is a major consumer of plastic nowadays, with Zomatos and Swiggies coming in and home delivery is becoming more and more convenient. So everything is on your app right now. So think about it. Take a break. Walk out to the restaurant and just enjoy the food in its own environment. Common products, but think about it. If we could just eliminate all of the plastic that we have. Bottles, the bottles that are there in front of your desk right now. It was a very scary picture to see somebody from the hotel collect a tray full of just waste bottles. I've tagged Lina on that, so hopefully they get some action. Okay, then of course waste. Waste segregation is a very tough task, especially in India. I don't know why, but we just are not becoming waste aware. Cups, laptops, medical, paper tapes. Chennai is using, by the way, fantastic paper tapes. If you go to buy any filter coffee, you'll find them using, instead of sellotapes, they're using paper tapes with gums, actually. And that really makes sense. E-waste is the biggest menace nowadays. I'm sorry I'm eating at the time, but this is something very important. E-waste is something that we are actually generating without any awareness. The phones that we use, the computers, the keyboards, the mouse, everything dumps here. So everything just comes into that e-waste cycle and is absolutely thrown away in garbage, not really segregated well. Now, it would be nice of all of us to come together and request your Chroma, which is actually doing it right now. So Chromas and all these other electronic shops, they are actually collecting your e-waste. If you ask them, they will definitely help you with this. And of course, a lot of e-waste management is required. Actually, waste management is required more than e-waste. So this is what happens usually, and everywhere you'll find a twin garbage bucket, whereas the green is for organic and the plastic, as whatever is recyclable is in the blue one. But even that has to be segregated eventually. So I think as a practice, we should start just segregating waste. That is the quickest and easiest solution to this menace. Of course, it will not change the world right away, but eventually, in a little bit of time, maybe to the next generation, what we pass on, it will be a cultural change, cultural shift that is required. I hope you guys join me with that mission to make this life possible without plastic. Thank you.
Architect Prashant, before you go, can you please come back on stage? It's time to felicitate you. And also, I would like to ask you one question. Well, it is not a question, but we were outside and we were having a conversation, and you told me about a new island which is formed somewhere in the Pacific. I think it is the right time when everybody should know about this new island which is just formed, a man-made island.
Not a man-made island at all. It is something that nature formed from the man-made waste. So this is something that you should Google it up. I mean, it's just scary to see a 1 minute time lapse of a period of, I think, 70 or 80 years. And within that 70 or 80 years, we've developed actually a garbage island. It's something very scary.
It shakes my heart when I see that island, and I actually saw a documentary on it. The kind of marine life, the kind of damage that we are facing, every year, millions and millions of species, they die only because we are generating that kind of waste. Sir, would you like to say something? Okay. it something to be shared? Okay, microplastic.
I agree, but you're already up to time. Yeah, actually it makes a lot of sense. Microplastic is actually in our food today by default. The fishes that we eat, the chicken that we eat, anything that we do eventually has microplastics in your body system right now as we speak.
I request organizers just to give some additional time, if you can just elaborate for the group to explain what is microplastic and its risk.
So, so the risks are crazy. I mean, today cancer